Hey, it's 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, and I'm doing the finger thing again. I'm going to stop that. It's 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. That means it's time for This Week at Gear Report, where we talk about all of the things that have been published since last week's show. We actually have had some things published this time, and some things that are in the queue that may be published soon. So with that, thank you so much for squandering part of your afternoon or evening to join us. So far, Mitch has joined us. There he is. I said he unmuted. He's going to say something.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Gear Report, and we're glad that you're here with us.
That's a true story, actually. Yeah, good job, Mitch. I got a text from Clover a little while ago that said he couldn't find the link, which I don't know. The link was where it always is in the calendar invitation. It was sent out. So I don't know. Maybe he'll be with us. Maybe he won't. I sent it to him separately. So Clover Tech may join us. He had a review published, so he has something to talk about. And he was here. He was here in the comments. He was the first one. He actually was the first one, not like other people like Snob who say they're the first when they actually weren't the first. All right, who else do we have here? Buck is here. Good to see you, Buck. Boba's little brother, Honcho, was here. All right, and that's it. Oh, I guess this is going to be a good one. Hold on to your stuff. Here we go. Okay, well, let's go then. Why don't we? How you doing, Mitch, by the way?
Oh, doing good. No complaints. Looking forward to some great reviews, some good content, as always.
Excellent. That's good to hear. Mitch was sharing some potentially good news here recently without getting into his private life or airing any of his laundry of any type, dirty or otherwise. We'll just say, keep your fingers crossed. There may be some good things in the works for our friend Mitch here shortly. And we want nothing but good stuff for everyone. So we're gonna vote for that. All right, so let's dive in. Oh, I just heard the little ding. That means someone is joining us. Oh, and it's the tactical leprechaun himself. Greetings, Mr. Clover Tech.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how's it going, Clove?
Hey, you almost missed the introductions completely, but you made it just in time.
I can never find your Google Calendar link, whatever, and then finally was able to get that to work, and then it, for whatever reason, I had to restart. It wasn't picking up my camera and microphone. Weird. I don't know.
Indeed. Hey, you're here now, though, as is Defense Dad. So we got a growing posse of people here. Oh, but things just got foul. Can I say that? Yeah. Good to see you, Gizzard.
Yep.
All right, man, and a friendly group out here tonight. Look at that. Everyone's so welcoming. All right. And another one. Man. Okay, so while everyone's in such a good mood, why don't we dive in and talk about the biggest one, the one that I have put hours and hours and hours into since our last little online soiree or get together. This is so a week and a half ago, TJ and I went down to Southwest Florida, which I'd like to go back to because it was warm down there. It's not so warm back here at Gear-Report headquarters in North Carolina right now. In Southwest Florida at Immokalee, out in the middle of nowhere, is an old prison. And then we talked about this last week. We had the event there. Well, I have been cranking out videos from that event. So I have assembled them all into one post that starts with the overview of what the event was. So that's the interview with Anthony, who part of Tradecraft Range and Force Center. And then we dive into some interviews. So we got Maxim Defense. Dave, their sales and marketing guru, gave us kind of a tour of the brand, who they are. And then we talked to CJ, their head on the law enforcement side and military side, about how they came about the PDX, their new little PDW. We'll get into that one later, and then we'll have another one that's going to drop on Monday that is more about the PDX and 300 Blackout, which they've just come out with, which is pretty cool because you don't have to change the gas settings to go from running subs to supers, or using just a brake or a silencer. They've got it balanced out pretty well. So that video is going to be up in there when it drops on Monday. That should populate. We've got Medieval Industries with their ARG, VFG, Overwatch tripod. The DVG1 from Sky, that's one that they announced it right before SHOT Show last year, and it made kind of a splash that they were finally, a lot of people like the Sky, the CPX pistols, except for the super heavy, long trigger pull, long, gritty, springy, spongy. Did I miss anything, guys?
I'm going to have to go with a no.
I wasn't
Okay.
there. I don't know.
You never shot the CPX pistols?
You're talking about the Sky?
Yeah.
Yeah, they suck. I've
That's
never
what I'm saying.
I've never shot one I liked. So
Yeah, so they're nice little pistols, except for the trigger is heinous. So then the big deal was they came out with the DVG1, which is a striker fired version, a little bit slimmer for concealed carry, but then a better trigger. And it is quite a bit better. It's not perfect, but still quite a bit better. We got a video of Ballista Packs, the backpack. You see Dewan here in the image with just what looks like a normal backpack, and then reaching up over his head, and he yanks the plate out, and you can actually have a holstered weapon on the front of that as well. So you pull it out and it's right there ready to go. So that's a really, really neat backpack that has plates in the front and back. Okay, so the next one here that you see, Destiny Rescue, it says you may not enjoy this interview. It's about a horrible topic, but it's one that needs to be discussed. I'll tell you what, this was one of the hardest interviews I've ever done, because how do you even respond to someone when they say that in the world today, every hour, there is $11 million of commerce that happens purely around child sex trade? Wrap your head around that number. 11 million an hour throughout the world in people selling kids for sex. How do you even have a discussion about that? Well, if you watch the video, you'll see that Tom is very good at having that discussion about what happens and what can be done about it through their organization, Destiny Rescue, where they rescue kids from those situations. So please go watch that, because I got to be completely honest. The scope of the problem, the magnitude of the problem, the number of people who are involved in this, I was many orders of magnitude off in my perception of how big and how bad that issue was. So it will wake you up, definitely. So go watch that. You won't like it, but go watch it. All right, Active Duty RX Barrage Coffee Battle on the home front. Kyle there is a serial entrepreneur, and he has a variety of brands. We talk about all of those. All of them are very veteran centric and very much about supporting military and LEO types. The next one here, this is kind of neat. It's got 3 products. Fold AR. So most of us have seen Fold AR before. The AR-15 that folds twice. So the barrel folds over at the front of the receiver, and then at the back they use the dead foot arms system. So it folds at both ends to make it tiny. That's cool. But then they've also got Bounce 360, which is a camera that is a bouncy ball. You can throw it through a window or whatever and get footage of what's inside without risking a person. And then they've got a neat little pistol laser system. You can find that, all of those in that video. And then the other ones on here right now are kind of live walkarounds of the show. So might be neat to watch if you're bored, but not as interesting maybe as some of the other product ones. And I've got some more stuff coming, so we'll have WMD guns, tactical games. We did some really neat filming while they were doing a demo for tactical games where they let us go out on the field with the athletes and put the cameras right up on them while they're doing the exercises, while they're doing the shooting, everything. So that, I think that's going to be a cool video. High vis, Clover, I got to apologize. You had asked for a contact at High Vis.
Yeah, I've got one.
You do? Okay. I was
Wait.
going to say.
No, it's not High Vis. Wait. Yeah, I need a contact, I think, at High Vis. No, it was Excess Sights. I think I found a contact with them. I don't know.
Yeah, I can hook you up with them as well. But High Vis was at the event, and Tess and Lanny were both in the booth, and I am actually not sure where I put their card. I have it somewhere, or TJ probably has it if we can find his badge holder, which is probably in my van still.
Right.
But regardless, we can get a hold of them and hook you up with them.
Okay, well, that would be nice.
Yep. Riton Optics, we did some stuff with them and are going to do some things moving forward. And then we had 3 Humvees at that event, so we're going to have some walkarounds from that. And then a whole bunch of pictures down here from the event if you want to see what it was like to be there. You can scroll through and see all the coolness down in there. So that was a big article. It's many hours in the making, and there's still more content that's going to be added to it. So check it out. And I think the different product videos I'm going to break out into separate articles on their own as well. But that's all I've got to say about that.
Now that'll be more quick review style, probably.
Yeah, it'll be basically a container for the video.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Let me get this thing out of the way so I can read. Oh, more people here. All right. LT is here. Welcome. Let's see. Defense Dad is driving home. Don't let us distract you. Okay. What does this one say? It's the entire reason I bought my first handgun about 2.5. There were 2 attempted kidnappings. Oh, yeah. You mentioned that before, I think, and I think that's talking about the child trafficking, sex trafficking, kidnapping, stuff like that. I'm telling you, it is absolutely crazy how myself, at least, I can't speak for anyone else, but I live in a pretty tame little suburbia area where not much happens. We had a girl get attempted abduction, probably 5 or 6 years ago in a local church parking lot. Some guy just pulled in and tried to snatch her and drive off. And I think he did drive off, but they found her pretty quickly. Yeah, she had done something to get herself away, I think. But otherwise, where I am, we're pretty protected. We don't hear about that kind of stuff. So to hear the magnitude of the number of people involved, the dollars involved, it was absolutely mind-blowing. So definitely go check out Destiny Rescue, and especially if you're if you're with a brand and you're listening, check in with them, see if there's anything you can do to help them, supply product or whatever. Maybe some of the other content creators here, if you know brands, we can hook them up so they can gear up their teams to go in and rescue these kids without spending so much money. Because they don't have a lot of money. They got way more kids who need help than they have dollars available to go help them. And if we can help them with gear, that'll help get more kids out of trouble. All right. So I'm looking for share screen again. I get distracted talking about stuff sometimes, and I forget that I'm the one running the screen. So thanks for bearing with me. All right. So here, Caleb did another Streamlight. This is the ProTac Rail Mount 1 review. And I highly recommend you go through and read this if you're interested in having a weapon light on a rifle. I can tell you without blowing everything out of the water, it got 3 gears, which isn't bad. Typically, man, Streamlight products usually end up doing a little better because they make some really good stuff. Like we've had almost nothing that came in from Streamlight that we weren't really happy with. This one, I think he thought it could be a little bit brighter, and it had a little flicker every now and then when you're changing modes that he didn't like. But aside from that, pretty solid light. And his recommendation is generally to take a look at the other version of this, the Rail Mount 2. This is the Rail Mount 1. He thinks it may be slightly better. So always refreshing, I think, much I hate to say it. I want us to love everything that we review.
Right.
Because we got to put our time and effort into it. And what fun is it reviewing stuff that we don't like?
Well,
but man, it is also very suspect when the only thing published are like glowing reviews all the time. So we got to be real here.
Well, I've got a few that are way down there, but in my mind, 3's not bad. 3 is fairly middle of the road, maybe slightly better than average or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what one of the more of a realistic outlook on a product rather than it's
I gotcha.
more on the flawless end. So
man, and I've had a number of companies lately hit me with, "Hey, we need some 5-star reviews. Can we send you something?" And I'm like, "You can send it if you want, but it's not going to be a 5-star review, probably."
Well, if they sent a really, 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 really big check with it, that might sway it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I suppose it could. Look at that. Buck kicking in a super chat for Ghost. That's always nice when we see that. Something I always forget to mention. That and Patreon. I always forget to mention that as well.
Yes, you do.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say thank you to all the people who contribute, who are patrons and contribute for us. But also check out most of the people that you see commenting on here today have their own Patreon, have their own channels. Spread the love, give them some as well. We got a lot of good folks here in our community, and everyone needs support. Everyone in our little group has earned support, in my opinion. I'm biased, but All right. Speaking of people who could use some support, I'm sure Jason, the Rogue Banshee, wrote about some glasses that I have mixed feelings about. On one hand, I think it's a really awesome concept. On the other, as someone who has to wear glasses or contacts, it annoys me to no end that some people like me have vision that requires that we need prescription lenses. So this is a neat little way that Wiley X has figured out to add prescription lenses behind safety glasses. So if that's something that you or someone and care about or could be interested in, then I suggest that you come find this review. Check it out for yourself. And when you scroll to the bottom, what you're going to find is he's already done a video. So you don't even have to read the whole thing if you don't want to. You can just scroll down, watch the video. Or you could do both. I'm a big fan of doing
click on some links while you're in there and all kinds of stuff.
I don't want to do the high pressure or anything.
Right.
Yeah. But, a little clicky click doesn't hurt anything. And for people who don't know, I'm sure everyone here knows already, most of the links are affiliate links, and that's how we keep the lights on here. And that's how most of the folks that I know monetize their content is, at least a big part of it is through affiliate links. So if you're going to buy something, might be nice to check out what products have been reviewed and recommended. And if you like reviews, give it a click and help them out a little bit.
Well, it's worth pointing out too that just because you click on that link doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy what you click the link for. So, if you're looking around for other products, you could go through said link theoretically and also support people that way. So
Yeah.
If you're going to
Yeah.
shop anyway, why not? Right.
Yeah, and if you're shopping for Humvee parts and you want to click through any of our Humvee articles, we got links to different places you can get stuff. Some of those are affiliate links and help kick us back a touch of money to keep the lights on so we can keep producing new content. So welcome, Matthew Jones. Good to see you. We're getting a few more Humvee people dropping in every now and again, and I think we may have more of that coming up because before we dive into the next article, you're on deck, Clover, for your shotgun review.
Okay.
Just you've been warned. So before we get to that, though, man, I had an interesting discussion today. So some of you guys, this is probably not something I've talked about publicly, but before it was announced, Palmetto State Armory had reached out and said, "Hey, we're going to do an event," and they're calling it the Gathering. Let's see, and I'm going to try to bring that page up here in the background.
That
Sounds
sounds like
ominous.
whoa. Oh, that sounds like an M. Night Shyamalan movie or whatever. The
Yep.
Gathering.
The PSA Gathering.
So it's by AvantLink and PSA and a couple other different brands. And you know what? I am going to bring the screen up because it looked pretty good and it was kind of close by for those of us that are in the Carolinas, which is, where a lot of the Gear Report team is, or at least East Coast. So I was like, oh yeah, this looks pretty good. And then when you go to the event page and you scroll down and you see, it's all right, AvantLink, I've worked with them for a decade or more. Got some really good friends there at AvantLink. So that's good. Where's the list of the people? Hold on. Oh, here we go. Participating sponsors. I thought it was on the first page. Clearly, I was mistaken. Sponsored by AvantLink, Palmetto, Taurus, Springfield, SIG, Glock, Microtech. Those are some big brand names, right?
Yep.
I thought he said Smith & Wesson at some point today too. I don't see them on there.
This may not be updated or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I got pretty excited and I shared it around, and I'm looking and I can't find any way for media to sign up, say they're going. So I sent Josiah as one of the founders of Palmetto, and he's the main affiliate contact. I sent him a note and said, because he's the one who emailed me about it, and I said, I don't see the media sign up link, and he says, no, you sign up just like everyone else. I'm like, wait a second, that means you're expecting media to pay to go work this event.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I've been doing this for a few years and I don't generally pay for the opportunity to go work somewhere, that's and it didn't.
Now, if it was a fundraising event, a charitable type thing or something, you know what I mean? It might be a little bit different.
Yep.
But when you've got the big name sponsors you just called out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the money that they're kicking in, you're telling me that you can't manage a few media people? Come on.
Well, right, and they call it a firearms media event. So ostensibly, they're doing this so they can show off all their products to the media to get coverage, so we can tell everyone about their new stuff. But they want us to pay for the opportunity to do that. Myself, several other people were like, well, no, that's a hard stop. That's just, $50 a day, $120 for the whole weekend. It's not that much money. We'll get some good content. We'll probably make the money back, but it's kind of a principle thing of this just doesn't feel right.
Yep.
So I just ignored it. And a month went by and I just didn't respond, because he said, no, everyone has to pay. And then, okay, I didn't want to argue with him or insult him. I just didn't answer and ignored it. So then yesterday I get a note. Hey, we've got a couple media passes available. I can get 1 to 3 to each publication, depending on how big you are. I said, well, I got like 5 people have asked me about it. It'd be 6. And he said, well, okay, I'll give you 2. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. But then I start asking, what we like to do when we go to an event is set up the command tent and bring at least a Humvee, if not more, and like have a presence, right? Even if we're not right there on the range, even if we're back away from it a little bit, we like to be on site because I'm cheap, but also so we don't have to drive. That means we can get loaded at night. We don't have to worry about driving a half hour to a hotel. Not that I would do that, but theoretically. So I ask about that, and next thing you know, I'm getting a call from Josiah and Chad, who is the Palmetto CEO. And we talked for a half hour, and I'll just say I think that Chad is probably the most down to earth, genuine, nicest big gun company CEO that I've ever met. Really, really think the world of him and what he does there at Palmetto, but he has a little bit different take on it. And we talked about it, and he told me his thoughts, and I told him, hey, from the perspective of the content creator, I've been doing this 11 years. I've never been asked to pay to get into an event before, but he said they've had a lot of pushback, and some people got really nasty with him over it. And he's not necessarily receptive to that pushback. But long story short, I think that a little bit of explanation helped him understand where other people are coming from, helped me understand where he's coming from a little bit. I think that we're working towards everyone being happy and coexisting a little better.
Right.
But in the meantime,
what I was going to say real quick is for you, for somebody that's a day trip or it's something like that is one thing. For somebody like me, that you're looking at a flight, or you're looking at a really long drive, and you're looking at hotel stays and all of this different stuff. It's like once you start compounding that, I've already got a massive amount of expense, and then you're going to put that on top of it.
Yeah. Well, so I had asked about a place to set up a military tent and park a Humvee, and they immediately went into, well, what level of sponsorship would you like to sign up for?
Huh.
And I'm like, no, you don't understand. We're not selling something. We're not making that kind of money. He's like, yeah, but we're gonna have all these launches at this event, and you may come here and spend $1,000 and then make 10,000. And it occurred to me that he doesn't understand how perpetually out of stock they are, and how it's damn near impossible for a content affiliate to make any money, because people read the article and they click on it and nothing's in stock.
Yep.
So I can't. How am I going to? I'd be lucky to make that $1,000 back. He didn't get it because because all the great content we'll be able to make, we'll make tons of money. And I'm like, yeah.
Do you know how that, they don't know how the creator makes money. They view some of the big name guys that can go out there, and that's a lot of what they're looking at. They're not able to get a grasp when they scale up or scale down, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All they say is, oh, well, you're able to come get content and make all this money. And it's like, you don't understand the money that we spend to do that. They think that it doesn't cost anything basically for you to do that. And it's like, okay, by the time I've got my cost involved and everything else, even if I make money, I may only be breaking even.
Yeah.
And what's the point of that? Do you run your business? Do you run your business on the attitude of, well, as long as we break even? I seriously doubt it.
Yeah. So it was interesting, and I think there's still some education that can happen there. But he's clearly not happy with all the affiliates that make bank on Palmetto just by posting whatever the deal of the day is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, they're not doing anything. I'm like, well, yeah, support the folks like us who actually do real content, and stop, if you don't like giving money to people who aren't adding value, then stop giving money to people who don't add value, and give money to people who do add value.
Yep.
So I think we made a little progress there. It was a really good discussion. And And, you know, I don't get to name drop that often. So I was like, haha, I'm telling everyone about this, because how often do I get one of the bigger, more influential up and coming gun companies in the world have their CEO calling me to talk about stuff. And then he sent me a note later in Facebook message of all places. It pops up from Chad Wiley. I'm like, hey, look at that. He said, hey, I had an idea. Can you bring a tent and a Humvee, like one Humvee? I said, yeah, I can do that. Said, okay, good. I think I got a spot for you. He's going to make like a military themed vendor area, and I'll be kind of part of the Gear Report will be part of the set dressing, I guess.
Oh, okay.
We're going to Disney it up and make it look all military. I'm like, hey, that's a win for everyone. If it gets us in the main display area, and we'll just have to make sure people aren't going through our stuff during the day, because I'll be sleeping in that tent. But anyhow, that could be kind of neat. And I wanted to take the opportunity to do some name dropping, since I don't get to do that nearly as often as I would like.
Yeah, Jeff, contrary to what most people think, they don't have a strong media link between business marketing and social media as far as how they're utilizing, and this was going on some years ago. They may have gotten better, but if so, I haven't seen any of it. So I think they're, like you said, they're out of touch with kind of how it could benefit them more than what they're losing, because they're not losing anything by letting real content creators there to get that content. All it does is bring a broader spotlight over PSA and what they've got coming out, what's behind the scenes.
Yep.
And people go, oh, I'm more interested now than I was. I want that thing, but now I know why I want it. Or, so yeah.
Yep. But if they continue on the path they're on, it'll be good for Gear Report, because we'll get, we'll be there and we'll have a couple passes, and there won't be that many other people there covering it. So we may actually build a little momentum. But I would say any of the other content creators listening to this, reach out to Josiah and let him know you want to go. If that's something you want to do, or if you want to go with Gear Report, that's fine too, whatever. But I can certainly help you if you need to get a hold of someone there at PSA to make it happen. But it also means that between now and then, so it's a little bit over a month, maybe 4 or 5 weeks out, I have a lot to do to my Humvee to get it ready to go to South Carolina between now and then. So some basic maintenance stuff. And then I have I probably want to paint it, because it's multicolored now, where they took some of the body armor off when they demilled it, where it's green underneath and it's tan everywhere else. I may want to clean that up. I got a lot to do, and some upgrades I want to put on it before going to an event like that, where it's going to be in the spotlight. So going to be busy. So anyhow, with all that said, since I think I've exhausted that name dropping opportunity, why don't we go to another article that was recently published. Boom. The AG-12 shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting on CloverTech to take over.
Yes, it is the AG-12. Yeah, pump shotgun, 24-inch barrel, 28-inch barrel. What's the barrel length on that? I can't even remember. But yeah, they've got it in several versions. They've got it in the longer barrel, the more home defense barrel, and then also at 410 and 20 gauge. I believe it's available as well. One of the cooler things about it, and I've had trouble. It is 3-inch chamber, but I've had trouble getting 3-inch ammo. I'm doing good to find 2 3/4. 3-inch just ain't happening. I really wanted to try to find some turkey, or I did find some like heavy game stuff that I've run through some of these, some 3-inch. Or some 2.5, 2 3/4. Good Lord, I'll get it right in a minute. Heavy game stuff, like pheasant load, stuff like that. But yeah, played around with some slugs in this, buckshot, birdshot, I will say this: the fancy furniture almost has that Magpul-esque looking furniture, right? And I don't know if it's. I mean, definitely read the article for everybody out there, but yeah, it's not the most. Shotguns aren't the most comfortable thing anyway. Let's be honest,
Right.
But I don't know if it's the grip angle or the furniture but it's that's why it didn't score any higher than it did. You know what I mean? And I mean it I felt maybe a little better than average. Certainly to me, a better feeling shotgun. And everything to me than like that H&R partner pump, right? Or the even the Maverick 88. I'm a big Mossberg 500 fan, and I do see a difference between that and the Maverick 88. So maybe overall, maybe slightly better than those, but it does it's got a wallop to it for sure.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the new Magpul-esque furniture can be really angular. And that's when you're used to the more organic, rounded wood forearm, that kind of thing. It's different, definitely.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I do have some stuff. I've got a Mossberg 590 and it's got poly 590 Mariner, and it's got poly furniture, but it looks just like the wood as far as the design, right? It's just poly, so rounded pump, traditional style stock and everything on it. Yeah, so I think you're right. I think it has more to do with the angular or or wherever you want to call it, man, the aerodynamic design of the stock, but it looks cool. Definitely.
Yep, and we got a video, 2 videos in here. If you want to go check them out, go read all about the different ammo that Clover tried, how it worked out, watch the videos, read the specs, see what the barrel length actually was.
Right.
Because it's in the article. I saw it.
It is. It's in the specs, but I don't recall. I just don't.
Yeah, I saw what it was. I'm not telling people. They can go read it.
Yeah, that'll be the surprise, I suppose.
Yeah. All right, let me see. That may have been all of them so far. Let me scroll back through in the back end here. I am fairly certain that it is. No, we didn't talk about the Blackbeard last week.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know about that.
I think we got 2 more because I published the Maxim Defense one during the show last week. So I know for a fact we hadn't talked about these 2. So let's dive into this real quick because this is really neat. And I have one. Jason beat me to it as far as getting the review out. But it's a really, really neat item. Oh, that guy's wife is here. Always good to see the finer persuasion. Is that what we say? See Clover's better half here joining us. That's always good. Trash talking the partner pump. I feel triggered. Well, you can check that off your list there, Clover.
I guess so.
Yep. All right. So let me get rid of that one. And we can look at the Mantis Blackbeard. So the Mantis Blackbeard is kind of neat. So we've talked quite a bit and got a whole variety of reviews on the different Mantis X products for dry fire practice training. And when we get to the AR platform, it doesn't reset. The trigger, you got to pull the charging handle and cycle it every time to get it to to do your dry fire practice. And that can be a pain in the rear, we'll say. So Mantis came up with what you see here is a fake bolt carrier group that goes in place of the real bolt carrier group, and a fake magazine that's actually I think that is mainly just a big battery in there. that goes in. So since you're taking the bolt carrier out, you're taking the magazine out and replacing them with these fake items, it is impossible for it to fire a live round. Even if you had a live round in the chamber when you put the other stuff in, you can't fire it. It's not going to work. So it's completely safe to do your dry fire practice. You charge it up and it will reset your trigger for you very quickly. I think it's like up to 10 times a second. Faster than I can pull it. Jerry might be able to outrun it, but I certainly couldn't.
Right.
So,
Right.
really, really neat training aid that makes dry fire practice with an AR significantly more realistic and easy. And it comes with a laser, so you can see what you're doing, either red, green, or IR. You get to pick. So you can do whatever kind of training you need with that AR without using real ammunition, which is especially important given how expensive and hard to find ammo is these days. And you can use it then with a Mantis X. So the Blackbeard has nothing in it that links up to the app, to the Mantis app. It doesn't do anything other than reset your trigger for you. But that's all you need it to do. So it is pretty neat. Roga's got a video here that you can watch to actually see it in action and see how it works. Personally, I had some issues with mine and eventually figured out that it was a little finicky on seating the magazine. When I got it all the way seated, it worked like a champ. Absolutely flawless. If I wasn't extra careful to make sure it was fully seated, it would kind of wiggle just enough that it worked sometimes and didn't work other times. So I guess the short version is, if you do your part right and put everything together right, then I have had nothing but a good experience with it. So looks like a pretty safe bet to me. You can go read the review and make the call as to what you think about it. Anyone else here tried the Blackbeard yet?
No, sir. Haven't had a chance to try it.
Only the prototype stuff back during SHOT last year.
Yep. All right, and then let me see. We had one more published that had slipped past me. This one that I did. This was one of those opportunistic things. We've talked about the Amazon Vine program that I'm a part of, and something that TJ and I were together for a week and a half for those two for that event we talked about. For another one I hadn't talked about yet. We'll get to that. And it became obvious when I was going through his gun safe. He went to work and he didn't lock his safe, so I went through his gun safe in very much detail, and I realized he didn't have a single rifle sling in there. So I ordered him some rifle slings, and so we got a tan, a black, and a green one in a 3-piece kit. And I think it was like $20 or something. It was pretty affordable, nice little sling that has they call it a fast loop for quick adjustments on it, and it's got a really interesting little gray piece that you see here that you can click into it with the loose end with the quick disconnect and make it from a 2-point into a single point sling, which is kind of neat. Should you choose to, if you're into that single point sling kind of thing. So pretty neat little items. Pretty certain it's Chinesium. So if you're against Chinesium, don't order this. But if you just want 3 slings that are pretty cheap but well made and seem to work pretty well, then there's an option for you. You can click through those links and get something if you like. And it gave me another excuse to get my little Sig Rattler out to do some modeling. We're going to try to make TJ's fence as famous as Gun Snob's post, or as Mr. Guns and Gear's dock.
Right.
Yeah, that's the goal. So there we go. We all saw, I presume, Kenosha Kyle when he got knocked down and dropped the AR he was carrying. The sling kind of held it so he could grab it again real quick and defend himself before they took his head clean off his shoulders. So I think if that didn't show you the importance of having a sling on a defensive firearm, then I don't know what it would take to convince someone. All right, so now let me go to, let me see if I can get the Instagram screen to come up here. And yep, there it is. So if we go to Gear Report, is that how we do it? Yeah. So we got a couple videos in here from something else that TJ and I did. So we were down at the Fire Expo for 3 days, and then spent a week at TJ's house before going up to Ormond Beach, just north of Daytona, and spending an evening and the next morning with the folks from Fab Defense and Armasight and Helix 6 carbon fiber barrels and Ulfandar. What are they like? They had a shooting mat and a big shooting bag, and thinking there were some other brands represented there that I'm blanking on, but that was pretty cool. And we're gonna have some more videos and stuff coming out. This picture, if you missed it earlier, is TJ wearing about $12,000 worth of night vision gear. So we kitted up with that, and he had that, and I had about a $12,000 handheld thermal with a huge objective lens on it, and we went and wandered down through the swamp there looking for alligators, which fortunately we didn't find any. But that was really neat to get out and play with some of that stuff. And then we did a bunch of these little short videos. This is a little experiment to show some of the new products that are available and accessories they have for those products, and tried to keep them at about 20, 25 seconds at the most, to just give a little bit of a teaser, so then people can go check them out if they like. So we've got we probably shot 8 or 10 of those. So we've released 2 of them so far. We'll release some others as time passes, and I haven't decided if I want to try to put those together into something for YouTube or just post them as short kind of social media clips. Would that work for the YouTube Shorts? Is that what they're calling them?
Sorry, I muted myself there. Yeah, you could do stuff like that with shorts. Sure.
All right. Well,
you want shorts to be, they got to be vertical.
Oh,
got to be under a minute. But you could format them. You could format regular stuff vertical. That's not a problem. But they need to be pretty fast paced too. So
yeah.
But yeah, it could be done.
Yeah, I may have to think about it. I can't stand vertical video, so.
Well, I don't care for it either, but that's just a niche thing with shorts. So it's just another dynamic to add to your repertoire.
Yeah. I think I'll skip it.
Yeah, well.
Yep, because I'm an adult. Okay, so let's move out of things that have been reviewed and published and move into what's coming. So
in other words, we got to quit living in the past. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we got to live in the future, because right now is the present. It is a gift, and yeah. But let's talk about what's coming.
I've got a lot of stuff now. Since you've opened the door for me to talk a minute here. Yeah, you've noticed, I'm sure, or maybe if you've gotten in there, all the drafts that I have. So I'm hoping potentially Monday, to hit the ground and run it. I've been stacking YouTube videos back for the last week or close to 2 now. And time management has just been something that we've talked about it behind the scenes, right? But something that, I struggle with, I think everybody out there does. And so I found something, a method, a pace, I think that's going to work, which is, grind for, a couple of 3 weeks on YouTube stuff, and then spend, an entire week hopefully knocking out at least a couple of articles a day, right? For Gear Report. So now I'm trusting you're not going to release those all at once, and you're going to space those out a little bit, but hopefully that will get more content, obviously, on the platform, which is or the website, whatever you want to call it. I call it a platform. Yeah, just give more stuff there on Gear Report, and be more of a regular, more of a consistent, right, release schedule, so to speak. As far as what's coming up, man, I've got a revolver from Rock Island Armory. I've got a shotgun from Gerson. I've got several quick reviews from some stuff from Streamlight to some Amazon stuff. Got even potentially a couple of do-it-yourself deals in there. I really enjoyed the Redneck Rest and played around with that. I've got a couple of other do-it-yourself ideas that I put in there as a draft. So several things coming down for the next few weeks, potentially months. It depends on how quick, I guess, I get them written and Jeff decides to get those published.
You're not kidding. I'm scrolling through your drafts, and you've got a ton in here.
Yep.
And I think that's awesome. And we've got some stuff from other people in the drafts here that giving a little sneak peek behind the scenes here for folks so you can see the kind of things that are in the works. Let's see up at the top. Oh, TJ is working on the DBX 5.7. That's something that we've been anxious to see. I think with ammo shortages and whatnot, it's been harder to find that ammo to get that review wrapped up. But he's getting there. I should have worked on that while I was at his house, but I didn't think about it. Caleb has been doing a bit. He's not in full CloverTac mode where he's stacking a lot, but he is stacking some and trying to get some things together and ready to publish soon. So we're excited to see that as well. And we've got a couple pending. Oh, here's a new one. TJ's got an AR-15 Premium Lower Parts Kit review from CMMG. Interesting. I like the little kind of DIY review things, as well as, full firearm product reviews. But there's so many people buying parts here and there as they can find them and piecing guns together because they can't buy them outright. They're just out of stock. So I think that's going to be helpful to people.
I've even got, I don't know if you noticed, I've even got a retro review. I
saw that. Yeah, like a training rifle, right?
Yeah, I've done a couple of those on, stuff that's been discontinued, old, they haven't made in years. Call those retro reviews. But I've done a couple of those, and I think I've got a couple of those stacked up. Those probably, I'm going to prioritize, obviously, with the companies that I'm working with. I want to get the stuff out for those guys first. I want to give them priority, and especially some of the stuff forgot, but that Beretta sweater that came through Gear Report that I absolutely love, that review's coming. That thing's awesome. So spoiler alert on that, I suppose. But yeah, I need to prioritize, and take care of those companies obviously first, and then figure out whether I want to go into the DIY or the retro reviews or whatever, but sort of fill some gaps with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We're interested to see which way you go with that. And let's see, what do I have coming? Well, I'll tell you something that I did that I haven't done in a while. And I'll even tell you why I did it, because it's a different reason than I've heard anyone else say. I bought some guns, and it's something that I haven't done. I probably purchased my last firearm a year and a half, 2 years ago. Because I just haven't had a lot of time to shoot. I haven't been doing a lot of gun reviews. So I've had a few guns sent for review. So I have received a few guns, but I haven't actually spent money and purchased any for a while. The last one was a SIG P226, just because it's an iconic pistol, and I've never had one. And one came through Quarter Horse Arms, the FFL that we work with here at Gear Report. And I had mentioned to Alan, that's an intriguing pistol to me. If you ever get one that comes in, let me know. You get to use one that we can do a deal that everyone's happy with. Let me know. and it happened, so I got it. And I haven't bought anything since. But then when I was down in Florida with TJ, I had some money kind of burn a hole in my pocket from selling my, from liquidating part of my portable castle stash. Because I've sold about a third of the big military tents that I have so far. I've sold everything, just about everything that was ready to go, and I got a bunch that are spread out in the warehouse. I got to pack so that I can sell them. So that's going pretty well, and put a little cash in my hand. And with all of the money being printed lately for the different stimulus packages, I think pretty intense inflation is unavoidable in the U.S. in the next year or so. I think probably the next 3 or 4 months, we are going to be absolutely blown away by how much inflation happens, because it has to. Just the way economics works, as much money as they've printed, inflation has to happen. So instead of having a stack of cash in the bank, I want to get some of that cash out into durable assets that will survive inflation a little bit better than cash will.
Right.
I said, ooh, guns is a great way to do that, because,
Sure.
I don't want to buy bricks of gold or something.
And the beautiful, well, there's a place for precious metals, but with firearms, the wonderful thing, and I pretty consistently, since semi sort of retiring anyway, don't tell them how many a year I bought back then, but I pretty consistently buy minimum 4 or 5 a year. I mean, that's what, one every couple of months or so. At the least, still, because I'm always getting, some FFL buddy that I know that gets something in that thinks about me, and it's a deal. I can't pass it up. But it's one of them things. Firearms is one of them things that, unlike stocks or gold or silver or whatever, you can enjoy them while you own them. So it's an enjoyable investment.
And I have definitely gone that direction. In the past few years, I have, I don't want to say stockpiled, but I've accumulated some guns with the idea that it's like money in the bank, that I can use, and I can play with them for entertainment. I can use them if they need to be used. Variety of things you can do with them, and it's hard to lose money on a gun. So it's been a good place to put some money, just so it's not all sitting in the bank or in some other investment mechanism. So in this case, I'm actively shifting some out of cash and into firearms as a means of diversifying my finances to prepare for lots of inflation that I think is coming. So I picked up a Spikes ST15 in 6.8 SPC. So this is the first 6.8 that I've had.
Yeah.
And I picked it up with the idea of I may not even shoot it. It just looked like a neat AR, and the price was right. Like I could have brought it back to North Carolina and sold it immediately and made money. That's not what I was trying to do. So I'm going to keep it. It was really bought to just put in the gun room until I need to liquidate that asset at some point, and then I can do it. But I was looking at it today and like, man, I kind of like this. I did a little reading on 6.8 SPC and said, this one may end up sticking with me, But I picked up, I picked up a Taurus G2C, the compact, that looks like it's only had a few rounds through it. It was used. Picked up a Taurus G3, one of the more popular guns out there, that I don't know that it's been shot. That one I think was new. It was not a used. So those are both. I will likely do a review on them. I bought them with the idea they'll sit in the gun room till I need to cash out of them, but I'll probably do a review on them at some point. And then the one that I picked up that has really been intriguing to me is the SIG P250. Is that either you familiar with that one?
No, I'm not a big SIG guy though.
I am a little bit, and then I've sold them. But yeah, it's a nice.
So the frame is the same modular frame as the P320. So when the P320 came out, they said, no, it's not just an updated P250, because, it's hammer fired where the 320 is striker fired, but literally the modular frame is the same. You can buy the compact, the regular, the X5, whatever they have for the 320, and drop the little serialized assembly in it for the P250, and it works just the same. And it's a weird little hammer fired that the hammer doesn't even look like a hammer. It doesn't have a spur. You don't put your thumb on it. It's double action only. And I was watching a video, and the guy called it, what did he call it? The square revolver, something like that. And I thought, you know what, that from a self-defense standpoint, I can kind of see, personal defense standpoint, where having a double action only in a modern gun that holds 15+1 might not be such a bad thing. Mm-hmm. So, look at this. We've got another Humvee fan here. It looks like Hill Street 2770. Don't think we've seen that one in here before. So welcome to the program. I'm glad you like your P320. I had a P320 X5 very briefly, and Toby cried so much that he wanted it to review that I was like, okay, fine, you can review it. And then he loved it so much he just had to buy it, and I've never seen it again. So, but I agree, pretty nice little pistol. I shot that one pretty well. Buck's got a 320 also. That's good. You should get a good. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. So defense dad, I was actually looking for just the opposite, right? They always get a ton of views. Oh, ton of views. I thought you said reviews. So I purposely try to avoid the guns that everyone else is reviewing.
Right.
That's why I have almost no Glock pistol reviews. I may not have any. I may have one or two old ones.
Yeah.
Because everyone and their brother does them.
Yeah. There's a couple of methods of thinking on that, though. So I will agree with you in general, because right now, for example, the EG12 that the review's out on, I am pretty much an authority as far as search, right? Traction and stuff on that, right? Because it's not many people have done stuff with that, especially not the big dogs that suck up a lot of the market. So somewhat of an authority, and that helps, of course, that video get traction, the review get traction, which also in turn obviously looks good and helps with the companies that send that stuff. But you threw Glock in there, and it's like, with as horrible as I feel I was treated working with Glock, and on the surface you think, well, everybody played around, got one of those G44s, did a video, every big channel, everything else. The written reviews, I think you said that once upon a time, the written review on Gear Report has done really well. And those videos have done extremely well. So now maybe that was just timing. Maybe that was just a fluke with that one Glock product and all the hype, positive or negative or otherwise, around it. That kind of thought that the whatever, the rising tide raises all the ships, because there was so much that was just going around the community so much about the G44.
You may get a smaller piece of the pie, but it's so much larger of a pie that your piece is still bigger.
Yeah, right. So that may be true with that one, whereas it's not necessarily with the other one. But like the stuff that I've gotten working with EAA, their Gerson stuff, and all that stuff does super, super well. So from a content creator standpoint, there's something to be said for working with some of the, I don't want to call them smaller companies, right? Because they're really not, but some of those outlier, I guess, companies.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the Taurus. That's something that I don't seem to hear a lot about. But when you look at some of the stats on what has sold, An unstellar review. When you look at what's sold over the last couple years, Taurus has sold a metric shit ton of their G series pistols.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and I don't see a ton of reviews popping up from people on those. So yeah, I think they're going to do okay. That's why I got them. Is I think that they will be good. The price was right where I could pick them up, and for my goal of just getting something out of cash to sit in the gun room until I need to liquidate it. I wasn't looking to buy low, sell high. This isn't a money making scheme. It's a protect my money scheme, or strategy, I'll say. So anyhow, that's kind of what's going on there. And I just sent Riton Optics. We spent some time with them down at the Fire Expo, and I sent them a request for some optics. I'm putting together a note for Fab Defense. Here's a Fab Defense product. This they call the Gratis. It's a little tiny forward grip that almost looks like the pistol grip for a compact pistol.
Yeah.
And it is rubber over molded. It feels awesome. It's got a really good shape to it here. This from the back, you can see the contours on it. And it's for M-Lock. So this is the Gratis M for M-Lock. And I'm going to have to find something to put this on. It won't work on that Spikes AR I was talking about because the handguard's different. But
Right.
that may end up on the Sig Rattler, actually. That could be kind of interesting. No, but it's a pistol, so it can't have a vertical foregrip, right?
That is true.
Grr. Okay. It's not going to go on the Rattler because I
Right.
don't want to SBR it. But Maxim Defense is sending the brand new PDX in 300 Blackout, and that's going to be an SBR, so I can put a vertical foregrip on that. So maybe that's where it ends up.
There you go.
Yep. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I'm doing a few. I got a few more gun reviews in the works. I had kind of gotten away from doing gun reviews to spend more time on Humvee stuff, and I probably should focus more on that. But I want to do a few more gun reviews in the meantime.
Well, you've got quite a few firearm content guys, on I won't say on the payroll, but on the team, right?
Sure.
So that does allow you. It allows you to not have to stress over that type of content being done. You can focus on other things that maybe you think need more attention, right?
Yeah. So in that regard, Mitch and Clover and anyone else on the team that's out there listening, definitely let me know what things you're interested in. Going back to that event that we talked about, the Gathering, if you go to Palmetto State Armory and look for the link for the Gathering, or you could type palmettostatearmory.com/thegathering.html. That'll take you to that event. Look at the different sponsors, and if there's anything coming up, some of the big brands are supposed to be saving some product announcements for this event. So I'm going to be looking to get some gun reviews scheduled and in the queue and work them out while we're there. So if you're interested in doing any of those, let me know, because I don't want to do them all.
Well, I've got, before we got out of here, I've got an event that I kind of wanted to talk about. I know there's other creators that are out there watching and listening, and then of course the Gear Report guys, if they're paying attention. But PALMA, Professional Outdoor Media Association, is having a shooting sports showcase. Is what they're calling it, which is coming up on March the 8th. Now, what's weird is that's on a Monday, which is kind of weird. If my calendar was right, anyway, when I looked at it, I'm going to jump down to March and see. Yes, it is on a Monday. So it is at the Civilian Marksmanship Park in Talladega. Now, if you are not a PALMA member, it basically costs you your PALMA membership to attend, right? So what that is basically you pay for a PALMA membership to to basically to get in. So it's applied, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, it costs this much if you're not a POMA, but we'll apply this to your POMA membership. Now that's granted, you get accepted into POMA. And if anybody's curious about that, I can certainly help you through that. I don't think it's that difficult, especially to get associate member, right? Voting member might be a little different. But what is interesting about this event is the exhibitors. I'm running through here now. I see Bergara is in here, Century Arms, CBA, Darkstorm Industries, Fiocchi, Glock, HMK, Leupold, Manus, Otis Tech, Raton Optics, Savage, SIG, Sol Invictus, Taylors and Companies, and Excess Sights, among several others. I was just picking and choosing some of the big ones that people will recognize, right?
Yeah.
What's interesting is that's a lot of companies that we don't have access through POMA, right? Because that's one of the things with POMA is we've got you join, become get accepted as a POMA member, and you've got access to their corporate list. And what's interesting about that is, a lot of those companies, Glock's not on there for sure, HK, some of those. So it's interesting that's another perk, I guess. I've always talked about, I've been served fairly well by POMA. And, this looks like it could be. I'm looking forward to the event. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled or whatever. I'm definitely going to get out there and make it if I can. And, it could be an interesting opportunity to actually make some good contacts with, companies outside of POMA that I wouldn't have a chance, because I'm looking through the media list here, and I don't recognize any like YouTuber names in that media list at all. So
POMA, I think, is more known for old school, like traditional print media.
Yeah. So that may bode well. You know what I'm saying? For me, if I'm one of the only or the few that's actually a video guy that is there. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, you were talking about the PSA event, so I thought, well, let's bring this one up because it's definitely an opportunity with the lack of SHOT Show and other things this year that people out there may want to look into. And you get your attendance fee or whatever forwarded over to your POMA membership, and there could be other benefits again to having that POMA membership.
So this is something TJ and I talked about. So a week ago, the Palmetto State Armory event was off the table because of what we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until like yesterday and today that kind of flipped 180, and now we might actually be
going
officially participant, not just going, but like part of the display area.
Right.
So that's turned 180. But the plan up until yesterday morning was we're not even doing the PSA event at all. We're going to go to the POMA event down in Talladega.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't looked closely enough to see about the fee for it. But you and I have talked. I've been really close to just signing up with POMA anyway.
Right.
So I figured, I'd just go ahead and do it for this. But that looks like a pretty neat event. Now I've got to figure out, do I want to go all the way to Talladega and then turn around a week and a half later and go to the PSA event?
Right.
Maybe I do. I don't know. We shall see.
Out of that list, if you go to who's attending, is there anybody there that's not going to be at PSA that? And then you got to realize, I think kind of like I was talking about with the media members there attending, what kind of attention are you going to get, as Gear Report? Because that's a little different than a writer or a blogger or a, whatever.
Whoa, wait a second.
That
Christopher Dover is going to be there. Part of the media presence.
Whoa, yeah, I
don't think I can compete with that.
I know, right?
Oh, Dick Jones is going to be there too.
Who is?
Dick Jones.
Oh yeah,
he's what is it? Off the porch, on the porch, something like that. He's done a couple things with Gear Report. He's traditional old school print media, and he's wanted. he's wanted to get involved with some online media, and we talked about it at Shots like 4 or 5 years ago, and he's talked to me 3 or 4 times
Right.
before he finally sent over a couple articles.
I remember he had some like about, wasn't it about fishing or about a lake or about, was there something
he wants to do like destination outdoor
Yeah.
travel adventure type
Right.
content.
Right.
But hey, you
Right.
write it, I'll edit and publish it.
I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but I knew there was something that had to do with, it wasn't like reviews of products necessarily he was doing.
But man, they have got a really nice list of exhibitors there.
I thought so. And I mean, it's technically, it's not complete, there's room for more. So,
Yep. So we'll see. And if you're going to be there, maybe that gives us a reason to, go
or
hang
maybe
out.
2. Well, yeah, you got a reason both ways, right? You've got a reason because, well, I mean, with Gear Report, I mean, obviously, if I make contacts and do other things, we obviously share and help each other out with that. So there's going to be a presence there for Gear Report articles anyway. So that lends you to make the decision, do we want to do it? But then, yes, absolutely right. That's an opportunity to get together. So that could be cool too.
Yep. So, interesting. Very interesting. If anyone out there in watching the video or in YouTube wants to leave a comment, any brands, whatever, should we go to that? I'd also be interested to talk to someone at Poma about, what we were talking about earlier, that we've kind of made a habit of rolling in heavy with Humvees and a command tent and making a presence. So I don't know if they would be remotely receptive to that, or like, yeah, who are you again? I don't know.
I'm going to say that I doubt it, because they're kind of green with, they don't understand a lot of, to be Professional Outdoor Media Association. It's kind of like you said, they're the riders and stuff. So I don't know that they would get it. They would probably be like, what's the point of that? That sounds like it's more trouble than it's worth or something, Yeah. It's kind of the feeling I get with them. But I mean, it never hurts to ask either.
Yep. All right. Interesting. Very interesting. I think we've got some decisions to make here on what we want to do as far as additional media coverage of different events and things. And it is something Chad and I were talking about today, because he was saying, he's been instrumental in putting together the Palmetto State event. It's really kind of organized by Alvant Link, but Chad's really been driving a lot of that behind the scenes. And he's saying, well, what else are people going to go to? A lot of media are turning down his event and saying, no, we're not going to come to it. And he said, but I don't get it. Where are they going to get access to new products? I mean, no, there aren't any other events. I was like, I've already been to a couple in the last week and a half, and the Poma's got an event coming up, and he wasn't aware of some of those things that are happening. The industry has gotten incredibly fractured in terms of what's out there and who knows about it, and what's going on where. And for people who are a little bit connected, it's kind of nice, because we got a lot of opportunities to do things that a lot of people, they don't want to travel, or they can't. They live in a state or an area where if they leave and come back, they got to quarantine 2 weeks on the way out, 2 weeks on the way back, and who can do that?
Some of that is loosening up, so that's good to see.
Yeah, I think they did too good of a job scaring people before the election, that now the election's over and we've moved out of the pre-election phase of COVID. They're finding that people are too thoroughly scared and having trouble letting go of some of the restrictions.
It doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So we got a lot of neat things coming up. A lot of kind of side discussion there, and a lot of Humvee projects. I got a lot to do to get ready for some of these events. I was just trying to put a swing arm mount in the commander's seat right before the show, and found that the mount that I have, the bolts don't all line up exactly perfectly. So I'm going to have to do some prying or bending or something, see if I can make them fit without doing any additional drilling. I may end up having to take them over to Jose's and put them on the drill press and enlarge a couple of the mounting holes a little bit, lengthen them so that so I can get all the bolts to go in. But yeah, I got a bunch of Humvee projects coming up to get ready. So gonna have a lot of cool content out there. Thanks so much. I still see a number of people out there in YouTube in the chat. So thanks for sticking with us. It's been a little bit of a long one, and we've rambled on a whole bunch of different topics. So we appreciate you sticking around. You know, I didn't even talk about something else I did while I was in Florida that I'm going to have to put some videos together. And that was, even though it was the end of January, I got together with a friend in out of Merritt Island, Florida, out by Cape Canaveral, and went sailing. So we were hauling ass on a little Hobie 16 out in the bay when the wind was ripping, and heard a couple loud pops, and eventually figured out that one of the rudders broke. Like we were running so hard out there that it overstressed one of the rudders and broke it, and it eventually, like, wow, 3/4 of the rudder fell off. so we were running on one rudder at that point, which was fine. We still got back to the beach okay, and managed not to flip the boat over, which is good because I'd only put half of my wetsuit on, and it would have been a little chilly if we ended up in the water. So
right.
But man, we were sending it. We were moving. I think we topped out almost 20 miles an hour.
Wow.
Which is pretty good. Pretty good. So yeah, I'm going to put a video together on that here pretty soon. I think I shared one. The friend I was sailing with posted, Robin posted a video on her YouTube, so you could see it out there as well. But yeah, and I got another, the NACRA, what is it called? The NACRA F18 Evolution, the $28,000 racing cat.
Wow.
that I went out on in late December. That is bubbling up in the editing queue. So I'm going to have to get that edited. I'm telling you, man, having ADD is not good when you're a gear guy.
Right.
Because, you know, I'm getting connections in the kind of racing catamaran area. Thank you, Hill Street 2770. I appreciate that. That's a pretty cool looking Humvee in your little icon down there. That's neat. Anyhow, I'm getting enough connections there. I was just talking to Joe over in Greece this morning about, hey, you know, I was supposed to go see him and do a week of sailing and filming with him this summer, but then COVID made it so, you know, couldn't really get over there. Should we try to do it this coming summer? I may take the whole family on this one. So that'll be an expensive trip. I got to sell some more tents if I'm going to do that. But yeah, lots of content in lots of different areas. And that's just me. We got a whole bunch of other people here. I sent something to Trey this week. Yeah, that was more of a gift than a review item, though. That was a really nice embroidered Marine Corps flag I sent to Ghost. And Jason Sanders, I sent some stuff for his Humvee, so a kinetic tow rope, and what else did I send to him? I can't remember. A few things. I've been sending stuff to a bunch of people in the last week or two, so we can get some more reviews going. TJ and I and Caleb were all requesting some review stuff from Fab Defense and a couple other companies, and Riton Optics, and yeah, all kinds of new stuff coming. So anyhow, I have rambled long enough. We're going to shut this one down. Any last comments? Mitch, Clover, you want to talk about any things you're doing or promote anything real quick before we go?
Check out the Gear Report Patreon, and most people know where I'm at. You click on some links, Gear Report article, you'll find me. So thanks for the show. Great conversation.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Good times were had by all.
I think that's a true story. Thank you, Mitch. All right. And with that, we're going to shut her down. So until next time, we'll see you at the range.